Welcome to Physics Learning. This is the sixth lecture on thermodynamics. In this video, I am going to discuss about some of the quasi-static processes in ideal gas. And for those processes, I will try to find out an expression for heat absorbed. I will discuss adiabatic relations in detail. And at the end of this video, I am going to discuss about one important question: why adiabatics are steeper than isotherms. Okay. In an ideal gas, there will be different types of quasi-static processes, and these processes are characterized by a general equation which is PV to the power n is equals to constant, and let's say that constant is A, and here n is indices. Depending upon the values of n, we can distinguish between the processes, such as if n is equals to 0, then v to the power 0, which is 1, therefore p is equals to constant, and we know pressure equals to constant means an isobaric process. Similarly, if n is equals to 1, then pv is equals to constant, and from equation of state we know pv is equals to RT, therefore RT equals to constant, that is T equals to constant, therefore this is an isothermal process. Similarly, if n is equals to gamma, then we will have PV to the power gamma equals to constant, and this is an adiabatic process, and I will going to discuss in detail about the adiabatic process. Okay, next, when n is equals to infinity, then V is equals to constant, and this is an isochoric process. So depending upon the values of n, we can have different types of processes. Now I'm trying to derive expression for heat absorbed for these processes. Okay. From first law of thermodynamics, we know delta Q is equals to du plus PdV. PdV is the work done. Heat exchange is equals to change in internal energy plus work done. So in order to get the total heat absorbed, we need to integrate this relation. Delta Q is equals to, just integrate it. We know du is equals to Cv dt from last lecture. We just need to substitute du as Cv dt, and we need to integrate it from initial temperature to final temperature, plus we need to integrate the second term from initial volume to final volume, and P is A upon V to the power n. Okay, this is the general expression for heat absorbed. Now we just need to plug the value of n, we need to put the conditions, and we can easily find out the heat absorbed. So we will start with the isochoric process. For isochoric process, we know volume is constant, therefore dV is equals to 0. So second term doesn't have any meaning in this case. We just need to integrate the first term, and if you integrate it, you will get Cv final temperature minus initial temperature. This is the expression for heat absorbed in the case of isochoric process. Now for an isothermal process, we know delta T is equals to 0. Therefore first term becomes 0 and n is equals to 1. So just put n equals to 1 here and integrate it. It will turns out to be delta Q is equals to A ln Vf minus Vi. After integration, you just plug in the limits. Okay. What you know from equation of state? From equation of state, we know PV is equals to RT, and for n equals to 1, this equation gives PV is equals to A. If you compare these two, you will get A is equals to RT, and obviously here we are talking about 1 mole. Therefore we can write delta Q is equals to RT ln Vf minus Vi. This is the heat absorbed for the isothermal case. If you have n moles, just you need to multiply by n. Okay. For 1 mole, heat absorbed is equals to RT ln Vf upon Vi. Okay. Next, just evaluate this integration. This is the general expression. So now we need to evaluate this. Just evaluate this. We can get delta Q is equals to Cv Tf minus Ti. And if you integrate the second term, you will get A Vi to the power minus n plus 1 minus A Vf to the power minus n plus 1 divided by n minus 1. What I have done, I have exchanged the sign both in the numerator and denominator. Okay. We need to do further simplification as PV to the power n equals to constant. Therefore, we can write Pi Vi to the power n equals to constant and Pf Vf to the power n equals to constant. Just we need to plug in the value of A, and if you plug the value of A, you will get from the first term in the second term is Pi Vi minus Pf Vf. Okay. Now we need to further simplify it. From equation of state, we know PV equals to RT. Therefore, Pi Vi is equals to RTI and Pf Vf is equals to RTF. This is the most simplified version of this delta Q. Now we just need to plug the value of n. For isobaric process, n is equals to 0. Substitute it and you will get Cv Tf minus Ti plus Rti minus Rtf upon minus A. You just take R common from here, and then from these two terms you can take common Tf minus Ti. Therefore, delta Q is equals to Tf minus Ti times Cv plus R. Okay. And in the last lecture, I have discussed the difference between the heat capacities Cp minus Cv, and Cp minus Cv is equals to R. So from here you will get Cv plus R is equals to Cp. This is the heat absorbed for the isobaric process. Finally, for the last one, adiabatic process, n is equals to gamma. We need to plug the n equals to gamma. So just plug in gamma here. And what is gamma? Gamma is Cp upon Cv. And what is R? R is Cp minus Cv. We will use all these relations, and if you simplify it, you will get delta Q is equals to Cv times Tf minus Ti minus Cv times Tf minus Ti, and it will cancel out and you will have delta Q is equals to 0. And that's what exactly we want. For an adiabatic process, we know there is no heat exchange between system and surrounding, and if there is no heat exchange, then heat absorbed must be 0. Okay, so that's why we got delta Q equals to 0. Let's see adiabatic process in more detail. We will start with the ideal gas equation, that is PV equals to RT for 1 mole, where P is pressure, V is volume, T is temperature, R is molar gas constant. Let's differentiate it. If you differentiate it, you will get PdV plus VdP is equals to RdT, right? Okay, what is R? R is Cp minus Cv. Plug in here and try to rearrange the terms. Okay, if you rearrange, we will have Cv dt plus Pdv is equals to Cp dt minus Vdp. Right? So this is the simplified form. We just need to focus on this left hand side. What is this left hand side? If you don't remember, let me remind you. From first law of thermodynamics, we can write delta Q is equals to du plus Pdv. And what is du? Du is Cv dt. Therefore, we will have delta Q is equals to Cv dt plus Pdv. Now you got the point. This left hand side is nothing but delta Q. Okay. So we can equate this equation with delta Q. And for adiabatic process, delta Q is equals to 0. Therefore, we will have two different equations from this relation. We can separate it out. Okay. So let's separate it out. Once you will separate it out, you will have Cp dt is equals to Vdp. Let's say this is equation 1 and Cv dt is equals to minus Pdv. Let's say this is equation 2. Okay. Now, just divide equation 1 with equation 2. So using equation 1 and equation 2, we can get dP upon P is equals to minus Cp upon Cv dV upon V. Right? What is Cp upon Cv? Cp upon Cv is gamma. So just plug Cp upon Cv is equals to gamma and integrate this relation. If you integrate it, you will get ln P is equals to minus gamma ln V plus some constant, right? Constant of integration constant, whatever you can say it. Okay. Just rearrange the terms and you will get PV to the power gamma equals to constant. And this is the equation for adiabatic case. We can start with ideal gas equation. and depending upon situation we got PV to the power gamma equals to constant for adiabatic process. This is called pressure volume relation for adiabatic case. But it's quite possible in some scenario we don't need the pressure volume relation for adiabatic process. We may need the temperature volume relation or pressure temperature relation. So let's derive those relations. What is ideal gas equation? PV equals to RT. From here we can write P is equals to RT upon V, or we can write also V is equals to RT upon P. If we use equation 3 and equation 4, we just need to plug the value of P in equation 3. We can have RT V to the power gamma minus 1 equals to constant, or TV to the power gamma minus 1 equals to constant. This is TV relation for adiabatic process. Similarly, if you use equation 5 in equation 3, in place of V, you just plug the RT upon P. By solving those, you will get R to the power gamma into T to the power gamma upon P to the power gamma minus 1 equals to constant. And as R is constant, therefore we can write T to the power gamma upon P to the power gamma minus 1 equals to constant. And this is called TP relation for adiabatic process. Okay, so depending upon scenario, we can use these three relations. Try to remember PV to the power gamma equals to constant, because this relation is more often used to come again and again and again. Okay, now we have a fair idea about the adiabatics. You will come across whenever we deal with the adiabatic process, usually in the universities and the examination points of view, university examination or even the 10+2 examinations. These types of question frequently come, that why adiabatics are steeper than isotherms. What is adiabatics? If you draw the PV curve for the adiabatic process, you will get a curve, and that curve is called adiabatics. And if you draw the curve for the isothermal process, the curve which you will get, those curves are called isotherms. Usually you will say that the curves for the adiabatic processes are much steeper compared to the curve for the isothermal process. Let's try to explain it. What we know for the isothermal case, we know pressure into volume is equals to constant. If you differentiate this relation, you will get PdV is equals to VdP. And from this relation, I can calculate the slope, and slope is del P del V. If you calculate the slope, that is the gradient, del P del Vt, using this relation, you will get minus P upon V. Right? Now, let's try to find out the slope for the adiabatics. For that, we need to use the equation for adiabatic process, which is PV to the power gamma equals to constant. Now, just differentiate it. Once you will differentiate, you will get gamma P dV plus V dP is equals to 0. You will have gamma P dV plus V dP is equals to 0. Right. Now from that we can calculate the gradient of the adiabatics, and which is del P del Vt is equals to minus gamma times P upon V. What is minus P upon V? Minus P upon V is the gradient of isotherms. Therefore, gradient of adiabatics are gamma times the gradient of isotherms, or the slope of adiabatics or gamma times slope of the isotherm. And we know that gamma is Cp upon Cv. Therefore, gamma is always greater than equals to 1. So in that scenario, if gamma is greater than 1, which is always, therefore, we can have slope of adiabatics are greater than slope of isotherms. Therefore, adiabatics are steeper than isotherms. If you draw the curves for adiabatic and isotherm, so now we are in the position to judge which curve represent the adiabatics and which curves represent the isothermal process. This curve is for the adiabatic, this curve is for the isothermal process. Okay, so just try to remember this. This is very important. Hope you like this video and all these topics are clear to you. I will see you in the next lecture, where I will discuss the work done for the various types of quasi-static process, and we will try to see some of the important relation which we have missed so far in this whole lecture series, so that we can pack up the theoretical parts of the chapter which is related to first law of thermodynamics. Okay, see you. Thank you.